Okay, good morning, readers. How are you doing? This is Mr. Aarons back again in your computer to teach you more about how to become a stronger reader and writer. Because as the Bitmoji says, knowledge is power. And today, readers, what we are going to be talking about is characters. We're going to be thinking deeply about the characters and the perks of being a wallflower. And we're actually going to be doing some analysis, some character analysis, which means we're going to be using our minds and the evidence that we've found throughout the book to really think about who the characters are that we have met and what kind of people they actually are. Even though they're fake, they're meant to be, they're written like they are real people. And so we're going to try and figure out who they actually are. It's going to help us understand a little bit more about the message of the book. Here are some of the terms that you need to be familiar with when we talk about characters in literature. So the first one is protagonist. You say it protagonist, the main character. So this is the person that the book is normally or is mainly about. In our book, Charlie is the protagonist. In many books, there's also something called an antagonist. Antagonist. That's the main character's opponent. That's the person that the main character is really struggling against or battling against. In The Perks of Being a Wallflower, this isn't really a person. Charlie is really battling many internal conflicts. And so he doesn't really have one standout antagonist. He fights a few people, and he doesn't agree with everybody, but they're not really antagonists. Okay, here's some more terms. The first one is called a flat character. And what this is, readers, is a character that is pretty simple to understand. They have limited personality traits. The author may tell us exactly who this person is, and it doesn't really take us very much inferencing to figure out who they are. However, there are also round characters or complex characters, and these characters have many personality traits. A complex character takes a little bit of time to understand. You have to do a lot of inferencing and collecting of evidence to truly figure out who this type of character is. Okay, we also use these terms. Static character. Static means that they remain the same throughout the story, showing very little change. Who the character is at the beginning of the book is the same person that the character is at the end of the book. They don't really go through very many changes. Charlie's dad is a static character in The Perks of Being a Wallflower. He's not going to change very much. Charlie's mom and Bill, those are static characters. They do not change. Opposite of that is a dynamic character, and this character goes through several changes or one really big change throughout the story. And this character can really surprise the reader. Charlie is a dynamic character. He is changing. We have already seen some surprises as we've been looking at our contrast and contradictions. Charlie is going to surprise us, and he is going to change. He is a dynamic character. So, as our books get more complex, the books that you're reading in class, the books that you're reading independently, characters also get more complex. And that's kind of the fun of reading, is figuring out who these characters are and what they mean. Complex or round characters are ones that go through a change and have many different traits or sides to their personalities. Today, we're going to look at a round character, and this week, you're going to think about a round character in the book. And you're going to try and create what's called a theory about them. You're going to use your mind and what you've understood about the book to make a guess about who this character really is. In one scene or a place in the book, the character may show one side of her personality, and you may have an idea in that one spot, like who the character is. But a little while later, the character may do something completely different, and they may show a different side of their personality. And as we pile up these little examples about who the characters are and their personality traits, we get enough information about them so that we can create a theory or a guess about who they are. Today, like I said, we're going to examine a character and their traits in different situations so that we can create a theory about who they are. And the character that we're going to look at together is Charlie's sister. So Charlie's sister in The Perks of Being a Wallflower is a complex character. She's difficult to understand. This is just a picture of her from the movie The Perks of Being a Wallflower. You may have imagined her looking differently. It's totally cool. She's a complex character because at the beginning of the book, when we first meet her, one of the first things that we see her doing is kind of antagonizing her boyfriend at the house, pushing him, making fun of him, and she ends up making him so mad that he ends up hitting her, slapping her. And Charlie, of course, sees all of this. And so we see her acting kind of mean in a way. We also see her saying things like, I hate you to Charlie at one point in the book. And that gives us a little clue about who she might be. At another part in the book, we see her dancing with that same boyfriend who hit her at the dance and being really sweet. And the book talks about her caring about animals and caring about people and being really involved in school and showing that she really does care. Even more, when they're talking about Charlie's family trip over the holidays, they talk about Charlie's sister speaking up in front of her family to express her ideas and being really confident and telling people what she thinks and not really caring what they think about her. So I'm going to show you how I take all of those examples and I use them to create a theory about who I think Charlie's sister really is or what I really think is going on with her. So I just kind of want you to watch me as I use that evidence to help me create that theory. One thing I want you to know is that you have this list of character traits at the bottom of this document to help you kind of pick out words that really represent the characters that we are talking about. So let me come back to Charlie's sister and I'll think about one trait at a time. I want to fill up all of these boxes before I create my theory. So let's start here. Let's start with that one trait that sticks out in my mind at the beginning of the book when Charlie's sister was making fun of her boyfriend and he ended up hitting her. So when I thought about that and I looked at this list, my eyes kind of went to this box over here that had these words that kind of had a negative feeling to them because that was really a negative thing for her to do. She was not acting very nicely. And the word right here at the top of this column stood out to me. It really sounded mean. Charlie even described her as being a bully, and she was saying really mean things to her boyfriend. So the first trait that I'm going to put here is mean. And I want to give a little explanation, like one sentence explanation. So let me say this. She was acting mean when she was in. Okay, I said that she's mean and that she was acting mean when she was antagonizing her boyfriend, making him so mad that he hit her. Do I think she's always mean? No. But at this one point in the book, she was definitely acting mean. All right, so I also talked about another time in the book that stands out to me about Charlie's sister is when Charlie told Bill about her getting hit, and Bill told her family, and she looked at Charlie and she said, "I hate you." And Charlie says, like, she really meant it. So I want to come back here, and I still want to look at this column over here because these are words that have like a negative feeling to them. And I'm trying to think, like, what does it mean about a person if they look at somebody in their family and they say, I hate you, which is not a nice thing to say. And so this word sticks out to me, rude. It's a rude thing to say to your brother. I hate you. So let me come back here and I'm going to type rude. She is acting in a rude way. And let me give a little explanation. She was rude to Charlie when she said, I hate you. After Charlie She was rude to Charlie when she said, I hate you, after Charlie told his teacher about the boy hitting her. Even though Charlie was just kind of trying to do the right thing and keep his sister safe, she said something really rude to him. Does that mean she's always rude? No. But at that point, she was being rude. So that's good evidence for me. Okay, now on the other side, I'm going to list some of the positive traits that I have seen from her so far. And I talked about how Charlie saw her at the dance and she was being really sweet with her boyfriend and dancing with him, and they looked really nice together. I also know that Charlie's sister cares about animals. She's part of some club at school. She cares about people because she's always talking about things that she's heard in the news about people being hurt and how that upsets her. So let me come back to my list. And let's see. These words look like kind words or positive words. And so let me think. If she's being nice and caring about people, well, I see the word caring. But I also kind of like this word warm-hearted because I think it takes a warm heart to show compassion for people and animals. So let me use both of them. Warm-hearted or caring. And I'll give an example. She cares for animals, people. She cares for animals and people, and she was being really sweet with her boyfriend at the dance. I think that's good. And then last, I talked about something that sticks out to me is when Charlie was with his family during the holidays, and he talked a lot about all the fighting and the yelling that was going on, and how his sister kind of at a few points said things that were kind of her truth. She was speaking about issues that were important to her. She was disagreeing with Charlie's grandfather, even though he was being kind of intimidating. And that showed a lot of confidence. I also know that she's a really good student and that she is confident in school. So I think I saw that word over here. Do I see confident? Yeah, I see confident down here. Confident is a good character trait word. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to say that she is confident. She's confident. And I'll give my explanation. She speaks up. So I said she speaks up for what she believes in with her family, and she is a confident student at school. Now, this is a great example of why Charlie's sister is complex, because we see her being mean, we see her being rude, but we also see her being warm-hearted and confident. And as we're reading, our brain is trying to pile up all of these details together so that we can make a theory about who Charlie's sister really is. Because we can't just say, oh, she's always mean, or that she's always warm-hearted, because that's not true. She's complex. She has a lot of personality traits. So we want to think about, when does she act one way? When does she act another way? And it seems like you might say that she is kind of mean to people when she wants to intimidate them or to make them do what she wants. But she also loves the people that she is mean to. And at other points, she's saying, or she's being really nice with them. And she's also speaking up. Something else I know about Charlie's sister is that there's a history of abuse in her family. There's been times where characters in her family have hit other characters. They've spoken unkindly to each other. And so I think that plays into the way that she has developed as a person. So here we go. I'm going to try and create a theory about who she is by mixing all of these traits together and what I know about her. So watch me. I'm going to write my theory down here. I'm going to say Charlie's sister is mean and rude sometimes because so Charlie's sister is mean and rude sometimes because she has not had good examples of how to show her affection towards others. But she is truly a warm-hearted and confident person who cares for people. Okay, so here's my theory about her. Charlie's sister is mean and rude sometimes because she has not had good examples of how to show her affection towards others. But she is truly a warm-hearted and confident person who cares for people. Now, this theory may be correct, it may be incorrect, I'm not sure, but this is just based on what I have seen from her so far in the book. And so it's something that I can argue for. It's something that I can say I believe it. This week, what I want you to do is to create a theory about another dynamic, complex, or round character in the book. And I've got some choices here for you. You can choose to do Charlie, who is definitely a complex character, or Patrick, who is complex, and Sam, who is also a complex character. These characters have many personality traits. And what I want you to do is to choose one of these complex characters. You do not need to do them all. Maybe you want to do Charlie, or maybe you like Patrick and you want to do Patrick. You just need to choose one. I want you to name a few traits for your character, and don't forget there's the list here. And I want you to put all of these traits together in your mind to come up with a theory about who this character really is. You can use my example up here as a guide to help you complete your own, but this is something that I want you to do independently. So, to review, we talked about characters today. We talked about the protagonist being the main character, a flat character who has limited personality traits. We talked a lot about a round character who has many personality traits, who is complex and takes a little bit of work to understand. And we talked about static character as well as dynamic characters. This analysis that you are doing, or work to understand the character, is really going to help us to understand the message at the end of the book. So now it is time for you to begin work. Please let me know if you have any questions. You are fantastic. I'm signing off.